calling the change, saying this is your alternative or else it's the law of the jungle, is a kind of scaremongering tactic. It isn't the law of the jungle. I mean, it's from a very cozy room, everything looks like the law of the jungle. Out there, it's a more competitive world. It's a world where more countries have the freedom and the choice to pursue their interests.
Coming back from DC, having traveled Europe extensively in the last few weeks, having been to the Middle East, a number of sites there, how do you assess what's happening today?
Clearly a lot of new things, some of which was predictable if we were tuned in to what was coming out of the US for the last year or before that, perhaps even longer. Obviously, a lot of anxieties in some parts of the world, a lot of opportunities for many. I think what's important is to kind of assess it without getting too emotional or attached to your habits. Understand that this is a change which is upon us, whether we like it or not. It's happening. By the way, we do like some parts of it, definitely. And then look to see where are the openings and the possibilities out there. So, there are, to my mind, if I could pick up on what President Stubbs said, one of the issues we have struggled with in a way is a kind of hegemonism of the global West. I hear a lot of talk today about, say, external interference or political interference. But in a way, the same thing was happening in the name of human rights and values and so on. So when we look at it, there are now possibilities of evening out this conversation. That many practices which were supposedly universal, which were not, we have now a greater ability to push back, to say that, well, it may work that way where you're concerned, but that isn't so for everybody. So I would argue in a way there's a greater opportunity in a more diversified differentiated world, to have more democratic conversations.
So the persistent push for universalism, that moment you believe is now perhaps facing a severe pushback?
I think that kind of globalization, there was an economic foundation to it, and there was an ideological superstructure to it. I think the superstructure definitely is challenged, if not discredited. I think the foundation is being contested. So today when we say, okay, let's have more resilient, reliable supply chains, that's a polite way of saying I contest that model of globalization where all roads lead to one geography. When you say that, let's have an active debate, you're challenging the view that there is one truth and it has to come out of people in New York.
American elections are an expression of their people. I would suggest that over the last few cycles, including the election of Biden, you would find that certain changes in America are definite, irrespective of the party that is in power. For example, exclusive economic policy, IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, was a muscular industrial policy that was serving its own industrial aspects. The China policy, bilateral consensus, the decision to invest in certain relationships, for example, the US-India relationship, bipartisan consensus, the Middle East transformation, bipartisan consensus. The point I'm trying to make here is that while the elections may be in 2 years, America may have changed dramatically, and some of its cousins across the Atlantic are not getting that message. It does not matter. Trump is not the problem here. They are not reading America right, and what you were mentioning. And do you think is that the problem?
I think calling the change, saying this is your alternative or else it's the law of the jungle, is a kind of scaremongering tactic. It isn't the law of the jungle. It's from a very cozy room, everything looks like the law of the jungle. Out there, it's a more competitive world. It's a world where more countries have the freedom and the choice to pursue their interests. If that's the jungle, I'll take my chances on it. Because I'd rather be in that jungle than be in the pen which a few people control.
Or the garden.
Or the garden.
Yes, or the garden.
The walled gardens. Yeah. So that's one dissent. I like this. I like dissent.
The second dissent, look, I take John's point, but I think he's underestimating Washington. I think you'll get enough things in those 2 years or less which will profoundly change the world. So the 50 states may carry on with the model, but because the President of the United States holds such exceptional power and the country has so much influence, that within this period, in fact, I would predict much earlier, that you're going to get policies which will reshape the international order as we have got used to. So I would not, I'm saying this in a very, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just predicting what is to come, and something big, I think, is coming at us. My third point is, where I agree with him, is, look, I do think around the world, politics and politicians have generally got discredited. I think there's a loss of trust. I would again argue we are a bit of an exception. It'll be very tough today in a really democratic society for anybody to get 3 continuous terms, which is what has happened in India, but we are an outlier in this respect. But it's not just politics which has got discredited. I think, in a way, diplomacy has got discredited. The international economy has got discredited. The kind of model which we have touted as being universally good is seen by many people as being built on their jobs, which were taken away from them. In India, for example, if you look at small, and medium producers, I mean, they are very angered at the kind of dumping of goods which is taking place in the Indian market. We all know from where. So I think we are dealing today with a much more disillusioned, unhappy world, which is ready for change, which says that, look, I don't believe all that non-law of jungle stuff which I've been hearing for so many years. I'm now prepared to take my chances in whatever lies out there, because I think it'll definitely be better than what I have today.
And just a quick one, democracy itself. And since you mentioned democracy in your intervention, are we now reaching a stage that we are perpetually polarized democratic societies, which means unless our side wins, democracy is not good? Have we reached that stage that unless your team wins, democracy is bad? We see that in the US. We see that in India to some extent. We see that in different parts, that unless who you vote for wins, the elections are not good.
Well, sorry, I know.
I'm coming to Ukraine very soon.
No, but look, I'll put it to you this way. I know people will say that. But if by the next election they're not saying it, democracy is fine. They will say it in the aftermath of a loss. That, okay, the system wasn't good, that's why I didn't win. But if they gear up for the next election, I think we are underestimating the strength of power and the habit of democracy. And actually, the attachment which people have to the exercise of individual choices. I think we are too quick to dismiss it because somewhere politics has not gone the way some people would like it to go.
My question is to Dr. Jaishankar. You said, Dr. Jaishankar, you dissented from Ambassador Huntsman's point about the importance of states, and you said because of the importance of the great power of the office of President of the United States and because of the power of the United States in the world, the next 2 years, or even less than that, I think you said, is going to bring forth changes that will change the international system. And I felt the bar Momtez sort of reverberating at that point. And I feel you teased us by saying that and not going a little further. So you have to give us a bit of a spoiler alert, Dr. Jaishankar, and tell us the nature of these changes that you foresee.
Look, let's just reflect on life since November. Okay, and it's less than a month of this administration in office. So think there are another 20 odd months to go, at least. So what has been the conversation? Ukraine, Gaza, Greenland, Panama, tariffs. And you think the world order isn't changing? I mean, and this is less than a month in office.
But why Greenland? I mean, sorry.
Don't ask me. I neither said it nor own it. So the point is that at the end of the day, if there is, I think you used the word, Samir, about overheads. Okay, I found it very interesting that the first foreign policy engagement of this administration, consciously, was the Quad. Okay, what's so nice about the Quad? It has no overheads. It's a kind of it's going Dutch. Everybody comes, pays their bill, and it's fair, right? So look, if we are looking actually at a different vision of architecture, a different sense of the power of the United States. If there is I don't know, I know Fatih Birol, who's left the room, was there, but some of you may have been at the earlier J.D. Vance speech in Paris on the AI Action Summit, or may have at least read it. There is a belief today in circles which count apparently in the United States, the best that I can make out, that US creativity, power, innovation is actually hamstrung by its commitments and relationships abroad. That if America was really unbound and allowed to, do its fullest, it would serve its interests much better. You may disagree with it or not, but there is such a belief, and it's a very dominant belief today out there. So if that's the belief, and if diplomacy is significantly shaped by overheads, if these are the kind of issues which are being addressed or at least put on the table fairly early on, tell me the world's not going to change.